subject very close to my heart. Today we will be doing eyes. If there's one thing I love, is putting eyes and teeth on everything. Now, in the horn industry, everyone pretty much has no idea who I am, but they do know that, there's that guy who puts eyes and teeth on everything. That's me. I'm the eyes and teeth guy, and especially my friend Darren. He's probably watching this laughing his ass off right now, along with my other friend Eric.
The Puppet Master!
Prince. So, now let's see, here's an example of one right here. There we go. This is one of my larger eyes that I make here. Now, the trick to these is Christmas globes, because Christmas goes great with everything, doesn't it? These are Christmas globes you can get at your local craft shop, right here. So this one here, this would be the 4-inch Christmas globe. Now, normally it comes in 2 halves, and they put crap in it, and I have no idea what the real finished product is supposed to look like. But I'm like, oh, these are good for eyes. Or even, we have the 2-inch size and 5-inch if you're really good. Matter of fact, I used a very large pair of eyes at Mays Landing in 2013. There was a haunt called Fear Factory. Great place, and they had the animatronic was known as the Impaler. And I added the eyes to it. Let's show the nice people the eyes on that one there. That was very popular down there. Mostly I use these on my own projects. As you can see here, let's show them here, a plethora of different eyes on different sorts of creatures. Now, all of these are pretty much, this is my own work right here, and a lot of them are by the aforementioned Eric.
The Puppet Master!
Prince. He animated many of these right here, so these were, over the years we did these, so okay. So here we go, let's go into my happy land of eyes, off to Thailand. And here we go, here's an example, a close-up example of the finished product of the eyeballs here. I have one round, several slitted ones, and these all come from here. As I mentioned before, these are the Christmas globes that you can get from Michaels and so on. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. And we'll start right away with bring these over here. Now before I have this ready, before we do any of this, I start with the pupils. Because basically what we'll have here is we're going to support these in a can or something that won't scratch it. And we're going to put the pupils in the bottom. Now the pupils I basically made from rolling Super Sculpting. That was the best way to do it. I do use wood dowels sometimes and paint them, but a lot of air bubbles do come out of those. So far, the best thing I've done with Super Sculpting, it lets me get some different types of shapes, so I can get like the slit shape in there. Or sometimes I have to go a little bit smaller than some of the dowels I can get. So what I'll do is I'll roll up a piece of tin foil, do the sand trick to it, and then cover it in Super Sculpting, then paint it and use those. Okay, so let's get to the pour. This is what we're going for right here. And what we use for that is my favorite thing in the world, wet system. Let's bring it out. Oh, it's a wet system. Oh, I love this stuff. Now this is from, as I mentioned, was from Boating Supply. Is the West System 105 epoxy resin and the 206 hardener. The slow hardener here we have here. And what I do is I do a little trick here with these cups, because sometimes you have a little bit of drip coming out of there. So I just cut a little cup and leave that there over when it's not in use. Okay, so let's prepare these. And here we go, West System, a 1x1 mix. There's one pump there, then mix well. Now for this, you could also use Smooth On. The company Smooth On, they have a sample set of Crystal Clear 200. I've also used that in the past too. That works very well too. A sample set of Crystal Clear 200, which if you want to go a little cheaper than the West System, it will come out more clear than the West System. This is really boat epoxy, but it works well for this. So we're going to stir that up really good. Scrape the walls, get every little bit in there. Now I also have a thing called a vacuum chamber. I used to get the air bubbles out, but we'll skip that for this. I don't think most people don't have one of those, but if you have one of those, it's a good way to get out the bubbles. There we go. Now I do have a good deal of working time here, so I'm gonna try to get some of the air bubbles out by just tapping the bottom And once in a while, I'll hold my nose and then like blow on the top, just to try to break up some of the bubbles. One time I even used one of those air pumps that you use for an aquarium that vibrates. I just put it up next to it and I would let it run for about maybe 2 minutes, help vibrate some of the bubbles to the top. Okay, get out of there, get those air bubbles out, 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 out. Okay, now for these here, this one here is going to be looking directly ahead, but sometimes I'll have it like an angle, like it's looking off to the side. So you see, this one will be tilted a little bit, and for this one we're going to put the round pupil in, find the best side, get it exactly where you want it. Now the slanted ones are a little bit different, as they tend to fall over. They can be difficult to hook up, but for this video I'm actually doing something new. For the first time I put a little wire in there. I'm going to try this. Never been done before. And I'm going to use one of my chopstick tools to try to get it exactly center. Oh, okay, wow, that was good on the first try. That works well for that, for the slit pupil. A little tad there. Okay, good, that has it right where I want it. Okay, so good, the wire trick so far is working. And now we can do the pour. Just a little bit this way. Now pour a little at a time first. Don't try to go for the whole thing. So I'm going to pour directly onto the pupil and let it settle a little bit. Same with this one. Oh, it's starting to fight a little bit, but you can always put it back into place. Okay. I'm just going to move this around. There might be, to get the air bubbles out from under it, I'm just going to move it around a little bit and make sure I don't have a little air pocket in there. Same with this one, I get a little. Oh, spin me right round, baby, right round. Wow, this is having fun in there. Okay, so I'm basically going to try to fill it to the halfway point. That's usually for the best effect. I can get it halfway up to the ball. And whatever you do at this point, okay, this one, that's where that's going to settle. Don't touch that because it'll come up a little bit and it'll look a bit off. And let's try to recenter this one. Give me a little bit of a fight there. Okay, I think that's good. And make sure you don't spill it along the side of where the white part of the eye is. Wellington, do you know what the white side of the eye is called? I don't know. I'm not a biology major.
Do not know.
I don't know either. Any people out there, biology majors or anything, know what the hell they call it? There you go. The white part. It's actually a light gray. That's the funny thing. It's not really white. Okay, so I'm going to pour the rest in there. Okay, so that's good. So we have one pour. We got 2 eyes. Drop, 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 drop. Okay. Like I said, make sure you don't spill any. And I'm not going to touch those for a full day. Totally stay away from those. Do not bang into them. Good. Let them set. So, okay, there we go. We've got the slit eye and the round eye. And now back over to the other station. Okay, here we go with the dried product. You know, I did a little goof just now. I sprayed it too soon with the Ultra Coat. This is supposed to be after. I should have airbrushed it first because that way it'll show up a little better, but I can get away with this for now. So next what I want to do with the airbrushes, and I guess the airbrush is really optional. If you don't have an airbrush, you really don't have to use one. But it does kind of give it that good effect where you get like the area's a little bit darker, and over here you can see it kind of has that icky feeling. So I'm basically going to use a lot of dark colors and browns to basically fill around the perimeter right here. And, you know, the browns will go over where the white areas are going to be here, so to give it a little bit of that yucky look. So let's give this a shot. Okay, we got transparent smoke here. We have shading gray. Either one's good. I'm going to use shading gray. Mix it up real good. Just a drop, I think I'll basically need. And I'm going to go around that perimeter, just around the edge. Anybody who uses an airbrush right now is like, you're doing it all wrong, but you know what? I'm self-taught and I'm a one-trick pony, so this is just the way it goes. Okay, that's good. Then I'm going to take some of the browner colors here. A little, one single drop. Still have a little black in there, but I'm going to hit along the edges here. And just kind of model it with a... Okay. Let's transparent Payne's Gray. Let's try this one here. We have some fertile soil, it's called. That's a nice brownish color. Just a drop. And go. I'm going to keep the darker more toward the back. Just model it in there, get it nice and a little over here. And let's see, do we have any yellows? No yellows here. One last shot, I'll hit this. This one's soft, called Soft Dirt. I love these. Love these colors. Let's make an airbrush paint called Dirt. Nice and model it, model it. On that perimeter again. Yep, a little too much there. Try to even it out a little bit. Okay. Okay, I let this dry for about half an hour, and now is the time I'm supposed to spray it with the clear coat. So, just going to do a little, well, it's kind of close to the camera, so trust me, I'm going to go all the way over here and just like, just a quick, that was a little too much actually, but just a quick spray of that, and I'm going to let that dry actually for 45 minutes now. Next, what we do is the squigglies. That is the correct scientific term. Now, you notice on this one here, this is optional. This one here, I didn't do the squigglies. This one here, you can see the squigglies. See all the little squigglies in there? So, it just depends on how much you want to detail it. Okay, so, this one has been sprayed, and I gave it 45 minutes to dry. Now, in order to do this, you have to catch it just at the right time. If you let it dry too much, here's what we'll be using here, the Pigma 01. That's a fine tip marker. If you let it set too much, the ink doesn't stick to it. It kind of just like dribbles off of it. If you do it too soon, it kind of digs into it and starts getting the paint stuck inside the marker tip. So, but in this case, I think I gave this just enough time to dry. So this is the best one, the Pigma 01, but it is dried out. So I'm going to use a slightly larger one. I can get away with it for now. This is just a Sharpie with a much bigger one, but we'll start with the squigglies. I always kind of do like a cross section on this. There we go, a little squiggle up that way. And going from the center, I try to radiate it out to give myself like a sort of crosshairs here, just so I'm following through the right way. Once in a while, I'll just do that to clean it up. One over here. And you can just draw these in. Sometimes if you get like a large space like that, you could just do like a lightning bolt and just come off that just a little bit. Try to keep it as uniform as possible. Squiggly, squiggly, squiggly. Da, 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 da. And the airbrush is yelling at me. So you get the point. You just go around the entire thing. You'll fill that right in. Now around the perimeter here, I'm going to paint a little, you can see as I did in this one here. I'm just going to put a black line around that. So this is how it's going to look from the opposite side. For that, I like to use the Steinrez, how do you pronounce this? Steinrez, black primer. Just put a little dot here. This works very good, or a watered down acrylic, anything like that would work. Nice fun brush there. And you have to very carefully just keep going around the perimeter. And it doesn't have to be a perfectly straight line. I kind of squiggle it a little bit, kind of give it more of a natural look. But since you probably don't want to watch me do this for an hour, okay, you basically get the gist with that one. Move on to the next step. Let's get these things moving. We also want to put the veins in. Painting on this side here, as you can see, they're coming through on the other side. Now for that, let's see, I've got True Red. These are the Garage Kits, USA. Wow, I can actually read something. I like to use transparent Scar Red and transparent True Red work pretty good. But you can go, here's a regular airbrush paint. You can go with a, what do you call that when it's not transparent? Opaque, or whatever. You can use this too. I like to mix up the colors, so I have like various sorts of reds in there, so it gives it more of a natural look. But you see, I get one of these really fine whatchamacallit. This is called a whatchamacallit brush because I'll just call this a nice fine brush there. Wet it a little bit. Put that in there. And we're just going to paint little squigglies going across. Start from the back and try to go thinner as we go along. Sometimes it's very hard to do it in reverse. Sometimes you can get away with it if you have just a little bit on the brush. Yep, oh, I screwed up right there. Oh, let's join that up there. And I'll have some over here too coming through. Just little thin ones. And you get the gist, and that's what it will be when you're done with it. Now, one of my favorite things to do is, I like to use, whenever I do eyeballs, I like to use interference paints. What they do is, as the light hits an interference paint, it makes it like glitter into different sorts of colors, and it works absolutely great on eyes. I like the gold, the orange colors work good. The best I find is the green. Here's a red and blue. But, okay, now what we have to try to do is, when we apply it, we have to try to make it, here's the green, stipple it on as light as possible, because we want the paints behind it to show through. So we're just going to stipple that and try not to make that opaque, or how do you pronounce that?
Opaque.
Opaque, opaque. You don't want this to be opaque. That's a little bit overly opaque. Sometimes it's, you get a little bit too much on it, you can brush it off and then hit it again. And I'm going to try to keep it as bright as possible toward this over to here. This is going to be darker as we go along. So, okay, so like there's a nice coating of green in there. Now we're going to add some red. This is a nice little stiff, this is actually a stiff oil brush. This works pretty good for it. I'm going to try to fill in this. See how that looks. Okay, let's a couple of angles. And you can probably see how when the light hits it, it kind of gives it that glimmering effect. Works very, very good on eyes. See from the other side. Oh, kind of hard to see from there until you get the backing paint behind it. But okay, no, that's good. For the white of the eyes, now it's actually not going to be white. Believe it or not, your eyeballs, that white part is actually a light gray. So what we have here is I have the Cermacoat. This is Cadet Gray. Cadet Gray or light gray works good. I'm going to have a little bit of ivory to lighten it up a few spots, and some pigskin for a little bit of blemishes. This is like a sort of a sienna sort of color here. So we're going to start, and we're going to mix this all in. So the gray, nice and deep, and just a little, keep that nice and mottled there. So mostly it's going to be ivory and the Cadet Gray. And as you can see, that's, you could turn it around and check your color. I'm keeping a nice darker color there. Maybe a little bit more ivory. And as we get to the back of the eye, I'm going to add some blemishes. So I'm going to mix in some of the pig skin or the sienna. And that'll give you that yucky effect. And if it looks a little bit too much, I'm going to go back with a little bit of ivory. Hit that with some ivory, some gray. Then you have to be very careful as you get over to the black line over there. You want to go as light as possible, because you don't want to go over into the iris part. Really easy. There we go. I always like to use several colors. I very rarely like to use one single color. You can see there's a little space here. I have to. Okay, I think I need a bit more ivory. A little gray mixed in there. Oops! Oh, that was close. That was close. I almost screwed that up. I'd have to go back and clean that up with a Q-tip, a little wet Q-tip if possible. Let's go back to this. And check the other side. Okay, that's working. So I'm going to try for the first eye, I'm going to use a lot of hot colors. This one is going to be yellow, orange, and a fire red. So here we go. This is all ready to go. It's interference paint on it. So I'm going to want to mix this actually inside the eye itself. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to put it's going to be the yellow around the pupil, and then it's going to go to the orange, and the outskirts are going to be red, but I'm going to try to mix it as I go along. So you have to be a little bit quick with this. I'm using neon yellow. Neon yellow is a very good color for this. So I'm going to tap this on here. Got to go nice and thick with it. It's coming out a little transparent. I might have to go back over it once that dries. Okay. And now I'm going to clean the brush off a little bit and work in the orange. Nice and thick. Thicker gives you more of a working time. And let's see how that's turning out. Okay, there you go, a little stronger with the orange. And finally on the border, I'm going to put some red. Yeah, the brush is still yelling at me. Okay, I got that nice blended in there. Need some more red. And there we go. So there's like a fiery type of eye. There's one. What should we do for the next one? Let's go for a green eye. Okay, so I'm going to go leaf green. I did like this yellow. Some more of this yellow. Then around the perimeter, going to do olive. And I think I'm going to mix a little bit of black in with that olive. Get that a little bit darker. Still too light. Actually, I'm going to put some. Okay, let's give that a shot. Okay, start with the yellow. Now, working with a smaller eye here, this gets a little trickier. Okay, then the green. See how that looks. Okay. And finally the dark olive. Wow, I really mixed up too much paint. Usually used to working on a larger scale. So starting with light and working to dark. Okay, so there we go. There it goes for the green eye. Green-eyed lady. Da, 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 da. And for the last one, let's see. Oh, I got a nice little small one here. What should we do for the small one? Let's do a, we'll do a simple all red. Okay, so start with the lighter red here, just a little. Try not to waste the paint. Ah, get out. Drop of that. Fire red. And some wine. Wine. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, lightest. a little bit. It's a little bit darker. And finally we go here with the wine. Oop, I have a little overspill, but yeah, luckily the white of the eye, the white in parentheses, worked out. And you gotta keep mixing it as you go along. And let's see how that one turned out. Okay, yeah, that's a nice little dark eye there. That works. And finally, let's go for a metallic look on this one. I'm going to use gold pearl, metallic bronze, and rich espresso. There we go. Okay, starting with the gold pearl. I gotta shake up real good. This is an old one. Okay, start with the light one. Oh, should have. Set it like that. It's actually mixing with a little bit of red. Apparently the metallic paint is eating part of the palette. Never had that happen before. Do that. Next we're going to go with a metallic bronze. Turn that around, see what we're doing here. Okay, maybe go a little bit heavier on that bronze. In fact, I'm going to wipe this off. Now when I'm done with this, I'm probably going to paint the entire back coat of this black, because black makes a good like back coat for metallics. Okay, and finally the rich espresso. See how that looks, turn that around. Okay, let's take a look at that. Okay, yeah, I think definitely I'm going to have to go back over with the, paint that black in the back. Okay. I'm just going to add, I think think it needs a little bit more of the bronze color toward the middle. Okay, yeah, that's a nice little dark eye there. Okay, yeah, okay. So there we go. There's the last. Here's the 3 of the eyes ones. Which would you say was your favorite?
This one.
That one? Oh, okay. Yeah, I think so too. We're going to go for the fiery eye. Thank you.
The fiery eye.
Thank you, thank you.
Excellent.
Okay, so that concludes our video. And remember, in the great words of the famous Ken K, applesauce doesn't freeze at 50 degrees. Goodbye now.